Now, this week marks 75 years since the partition of India, the moment in history where the country divided into the independent states. Around 12 million people were displaced and up to 1 million lives were lost. Elderly survivors are reminded of the horrors of the conflict through symbolic and religious tattoos, which saved their lives. Many survivors emigrated here to the UK, including 89-year-old Bimla Devi. Monica Plaha has this story.
India will awake to life and freedom.
In 1947, a British colonial rule ended and India was divided along religious lines. Hindu, Sikhs and Muslims were caught up in deadly violence on both sides. My nanny was 14 when she was told to leave her home in Pakistan.
We were scared, frightened all the time.
Mobs would knock down village doors, killing those who weren't their own. But amid the horrors were heroes.
They were Pakistani, our neighbors. They took me and there was big fireplace. And they pushed me in and put something in front of me. They saved our life.
After days of travelling with no food or water, Nani's sister died of exhaustion when they reached India.
We showed them passport and tattoo my mother had.
Then an inked religious symbol became the proof they needed to survive.
They are.
Vimal was in his 20s when he first got a tattoo. Little did he know then that in 1947, his uncle had one just like it.
And I went, Mum, it's the Orm sign. And she's like, oh, that's okay then. Your uncle's got one of those. And then she also mentioned to me that my uncle had his name tattooed on the inside of his arm. I delved into it. There were many other individuals who also had tattoos done. She then goes and tells me, do you know your great-grandmother? She had 3 dots on her face. It's like, what? And also 3 dots on her chin. And it's not until we start talking to the elder generation that we actually start finding out that, why it's important to collect these particular stories.
Shalina is a historian and has been studying the meanings behind partition tattoos.
Families had the same tattoo in the same place so that they could be identified. And it might also be that they had a bird or a star. People felt that they needed to be able to identify their religion really easily, in fear that they might be questioned about their religion, and so they could easily show and prove their religious identity.
Ali's nani was 10 years old when she fled India.
She lives in Karachi, so she moved there as a kid, as a child when partition happened, and she had to move with her family, with her many siblings. A couple of generations later, when we asked them, they're quite forthcoming and they're happy to talk about it. I think it does live on because they seem like they actually want to tell it. They want to tell these stories and make sure that they're recorded.
75 years on, our elders' tattoos may be fading, but the next generation are inspired to keep their stories of partition alive. Monica Plaha, BBC News.